You're listening to Seattle Real Estate Podcast.
What is up, everybody? Coming to you pre-recorded from Maui. I thought about not recording any podcasts while I'm here, but there's so many news stories going on. You guys just keep sending them to me. I got to record some. So here we go. Mayor Ted Wheeler seeks $2 million to bring back uniformed police team to address spike in shootings. And we all know that Portland's had just a really rough run of just shootings. People just shooting each other left and right. Just some crazy violence going on down there. And much like Seattle, Portland got rid of its gun prevention unit. And now it looks like we're kind of going back and maybe we want a redo on that. So Mayor Ted Wheeler seeks $2 million to bring back a uniformed police team to address spike in shootings. Let's get into it. And for the individual who sent this to me, thank you so much. Much appreciated. And thank you for the greetings on the Maui trip here. Days after Portland recorded its 20th homicide, Mayor Ted Wheeler said Thursday he'll seek $2 million in one-time funding to allow more proactive policing on city streets with greater civilian oversight to try and stem a growing wave of gun violence. So they already had some pretty major gun violence going on into this thing. And then they got rid of their team, kind of like Seattle's done with their homeless sweep program. Let's just get rid of them. We don't really need them. And then a little bit of time goes by, a bunch of shootings happen. Guess what? Oh, man, we need those guys back. The mayor made the announcement alongside religious and community leaders who urged city officials to take immediate action to prevent more people from dying in shootings. That's a good thing, right? Particularly young Black and brown people who have been disproportionately affected by the violence. Well, we kind of knew that was happening. That's kind of the way that goes, right? The interfaith group called for bringing back a dedicated uniformed police patrol team that would act on criminal intelligence to try and intercept and seize guns, work to prevent shootings and retaliatory violence in the city. The group also would respond to shootings, do follow-up investigations, and engage with people who are at risk of gun violence. This is according to the group's letter submitted to the mayor and the city commissioners. The interfaith group also seeks 5 more detectives to investigate gun violence, more money for the recently formed 6-officer on-call team that responds to shootings around the clock, and a new independent community committee to gather data on the officer stops and arrests and the effectiveness of their work. So we want some more money. We want our communities to be safe. We want to check up on the police officers, see how they're doing. But at the end of the day, what I'm kind of thinking here is you already had that program going. You got rid of it. And how many months later are we talking now? We need a couple more $1 million. We need some funding. We need something to basically stem the violence that's going on down in Portland. The proposal backed by the mayor after months of discussions, rethinking, reimagining, right? After months of discussions with the city's Interfaith Peace and Action Collaborative, mirrors a plan that Police Chief Chuck Lovell presented to Wheeler in writing on December 23rd. The mayor made the announcement while on a Zoom video news conference with members of the community collaborative. Lovell was out of town for training on Thursday. The police chief has asked that the new uniformed team consists of 2 sergeants and 12 officers, partly drawn from existing patrol staff. Lovell also has asked the city to consider allowing the police bureau to rehire retired officers on a temporary 2-year basis to help staff the team. So are any retired police officers going to go, oh yeah, sign me up for some more of that? Man, things went so well. We're going so well in Portland. I just need to get back there and contribute. I don't think so. Retired officers, man, those guys, with the guys who have 1 foot out the door, they're not wanting to come back. And the guys who already have 2 feet out the door that are gone, I don't see them coming back either. I mean, and for good reason. Hey, you defunded us. What are you doing? Wheeler addressed the overarching question, how the new police approach would differ from the former police gun violence reduction team, the GVRT, kind of known as, which was disbanded in June by the city council amid $15 million in budget cuts. So here we are 9 months later. We would like a redo. The key difference, he said, would be a new community oversight committee that would collect and publish statistics on the team's arrests, stops, and outcomes and help establish parameters for the police enforcement. The city would hire a data analyst to work directly with the committee outside of the police bureau. Committee members would have no ties to city government or the police bureau. Man, I don't know. This stuff gets kind of convoluted, doesn't it? And at some point in time, you're like, you already had this set up. Now we're redoing it again. This seems like a lot of Mickey Mouse stuff. I don't know. Wheeler also said he intends to bring the proposal before city council members in the next couple of weeks. I bet he does. The money would come from a city reserve contingency account created last fall that now has a $6.3 million balance, he said. Annette Edwards, a longtime city activist who retired in 2019 after 10 years of leading what was then called Portland's Office of Youth Violence Prevention, was among more than 24 community members on the video conference. She demanded that people wake up from this apathetic slumber, bolster funding for police, and put aside differences to work together to stop the bloodshed. This is this is what I think everybody that is what I call reasonable is thinking, is like, hey, you got to do something. What you're doing right now isn't working. It's not working at all. The numbers they're off the charts. If you just read any basic news story on Portland and you dig a little bit deep underneath the surface of the happy-go-lucky stories, you realize, oof, Portland, not having a good run right now. So working together to stop the bloodshed. This requires a deepening of our relationships, multiplying and adding, not subtracting or divisions of our collective and united efforts. Yes, it's going to cost, but we all know we pay for what we care about. And Portland is paying. They are paying heavily right now. Of the 20 homicides in Portland this year, 15 resulted from shootings. There have been a total of 208 shootings so far this year, with 53 of those resulting in injuries. I can't believe that those numbers aren't higher, just injuries. That's according to Deputy Chief Chris Davis. The city recorded 55 homicides in 2020, the highest number in 26 years. And right now, we're 3 months in, Portland's at 20 already. 41 were fatal shootings of the homicides. In its letter to the City Council, the Interfaith Peace and Action Collaborative, which is made up of clergy, social workers, police, and other community members, they blasted last summer's cuts to the police bureau. I wish somebody would have blasted the cuts to the police bureau in Seattle. But no, we were defund the police. Such a genius idea. Just a great concept there, guys. The cutbacks created a vacuum that undermined public safety in the very communities whose voices the council and our community seek to amplify, wrote J.W. Matt Hennessy. He's chair of the collaborative. Executive Pastor Ed Williams of Mount Olivet Baptist Church said his heart breaks for the community that has to live under this heavy fear of trauma and distress. Man, so much going on there. There's just too much blood on the streets, and we've got to be focused. We've got to be determined and fed up enough to want to do something about it, he said. Marta Gonzalez of the Latino, am I pronouncing that right? Marta Gonzalez of the Latino Police Advisory Council offered deep condolences to those who have lost loved ones from gun violence, noting that Latinos have been the second largest community affected by shootings in the city from 2015 through 2019. And we talk about this a lot. We talk about this a ton. The very communities that we want to try and protect are the ones impacted by this. Just the numbers are there. This isn't rocket science. Davis, Portland's deputy police chief, said police recognize they can't combat the violence alone, but need the community to be partners. We look forward now to being part of a sustainable and lasting solution that does not repeat some of the mistakes from the past. All right, fair enough. The added funding for police must be coupled with greater support for street-level outreach workers and other supportive members for people hurt by the violence, the collaborative members said. We passionately support actions to address serious issues about racial justice and local policing, the group wrote. We want to push forward police reform while helping stop gun violence. And that's been my whole kind of thing. I don't know these issues in and out, but it's pretty straightforward. When your numbers of police officers start to diminish on the streets, that's not going to go well. That's going to be a tough one, right? Commissioner Joanne Hardesty, who has been the most vocal critic on the council of the former gun violence reduction team and successfully pushed for its elimination, bet she'd like a redo, and her spokesman, Matt McNally, didn't immediately return messages seeking comment on the new proposal. Last month, Hardesty said she was against providing any additional money to the Bureau until the community decides how public safety should be reimagined in the city. Just so much reimagining, rethinking, and in the meantime, the shootings continue. Portland police continue to hold weekly shooting reviews with area law enforcement agencies such as Gresham Police and the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office and federal and state prosecutors. Oregon's FBI special agent in charge, Karen Ramsey, earlier this week said the FBI has offered more money, vehicles, forensic technology, and federal agents to help Portland police confront and investigate gun violence. Details, he said, were being worked out. Bring the feds in. And that's what former President Trump said last summer when these crazy activists were just hammering on the federal buildings. And they did do that. They sent some feds in to protect federal property. That's kind of what they do. And everybody in Portland got worked up, including the mayor. Don't send those guys in. We don't need their help. You're overstepping your reach. Yeah, really? Okay, so now we're looking for some FBI help, federal help, right? Last month, the Police Bureau launched a separate specialized team of officers and detectives to focus full-time on investigating shootings after they occur. The Enhanced Community Safety Team is made up of 3 sergeants, 12 officers, and 6 detectives. The team staffs a 7-member on-call unit of officers to respond to shooting scenes, examine evidence, interview witnesses, and do immediate follow-up investigations. The estimated cost is $153,000 for the rest of this fiscal year through June and $306,000 next fiscal year for a total of $460,000. The money for this year likely would come out of the Police Bureau's existing budget, but additional funding for next year would have to be approved by City Council, police officials said. Portland having a rough go. Will this work? It'll probably help a little bit, but to me, this is kind of like a day late, a dollar short. You knew you had the situation coming through anyway, and here you are, and now you're looking around going, oh, man, maybe we shouldn't have done that. Hit that redo button. Except you can't. You can't. All those people that are dead, that are victims of this kind of shooting. What do you say to their families? That was a social experiment that kind of went sideways on us, didn't work out well, so we're going to do better. And as your fearless mayor, Ted Wheeler, I'm asking $2 million to bring back uniformed police team. I mean, what a quick turnaround. We go from defunding the police to, maybe we need some more police officers in there. I mean, it's just a thought. But that's kind of where we're going. All right. This is a quick podcast, but it's my first one back. I'm a little bit rusty. Haven't done this for a few days. Thank you all for the well wishes. And I got a bunch of stories to cover. You guys have been great just sending me storyline after storyline. And I feel kind of like I'm here on Maui, and I feel like I'm kind of missing things. And I feel a little bit out of the loop. But you know what? That's why I'm doing a few podcasts here, just so I'll have that kind of that run going when I go back home to Seattle in a couple of days. I'm shooting this on a Monday. I leave on, the 17th, which is Wednesday, just a couple of days from now. But I'm going to bang out a couple of podcasts because I feel like I'm a little bit behind, and we've got news to cover. All right. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching the podcast. I will catch up with you guys on the next one. For now, mahalo. Bye. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you'll know when our next video is out.